so cool.
And we are live. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
That was so cool.
Hi, everybody.
And we are live.
Oh, my bad. My thing clicked.
Oh, no. Mine has been
Over here telling you and I messed up.
See?
Welcome to Black Prose Club, everybody. I hope everybody is staying nice and warm, even though these rich people don't want us to. Welcome to the Black Book Summit 2021.
No,
We want everybody to know here at Black Prose, we are blackity, black, black, black. And if you don't like that, you can hit that backity, back button. And with that, I'm taking it. I'm leaving. Have fun, guys. Bye.
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 Thank you so much, Brittany, for that intro. And welcome everybody to the third weekend of the Black Book Summit. And my name is Oshale. I'm your moderator for today. My channel name is Oshi Reads, and welcome to the romance panel, romance in its variety. I'm very excited, and I want to introduce today's panelists. So without further ado, I will allow them to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Neeks. My channel is Neeks, and I love fantasy books mostly, but thanks to someone in this live, I picked up my first few romance novels. So that's been a really fun journey. Because Steph reads like 80 of them a week, I decided to read like a few and dip my toes in, and I kind of fell in love. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, that is an awesome intro. I don't know how I'm going to top that. Hello, everybody. I'm Noria. I would start this intro by putting a disclaimer. My internet sucks. It wants to drain my life. So if I fade in and out, just blame it on the internet and hold my government responsible. But I am Noria. I run a book channel called Chronicles of Noria. I'm big into fantasy, science fiction. Romance was my first love before every other thing came in. So I'm really excited to be a part of this panel. You can find me as Noria the Reader on Twitter and Chronicles of Noria on both Goodreads and Instagram. So I'm so happy to be here.
I'm up next. Hi, everybody. I am India. I am Life is a Page Turner just about everywhere. Maybe Life is a Page Turn on Twitter because of characters. They don't let you be great, you know? I guess actually my story is kind of like Neeks' story. I am a fantasy lover, but lately I've been reading so much romance because I love digesting it, but I definitely got my first romance reads from Steph over there. So I guess she's kind of like our joint origin story in this segment. So you're welcome. It's fine.
Well, I guess I'll continue with introducing myself. I'm Steph from Steph's Romance Book Talk, and I started in romance, stayed in romance, love romance, and talk about all sorts of romance, like everything. Twitter handle, don't really use it all that much, and it had a connection more to my old channel name, which was Steph Uncensored. That's a whole story. We're not going to really talk about it. Okay. But then I finally got to change everything else over to Steph's Romance Book Talk. So that's Goodreads, Instagram, YouTube. It's a whole thing.
Awesome. Okay, well, now that everyone has introduced themselves, the very first question I have, and you kind of started to answer it, some of y'all a little bit, is when did you first fall in love with romance? Was it a specific book, a certain age, maybe even a different medium, like a movie? Like, when was it for you? Yes, let's start with Neeks.
I literally, so the first romance book that I read, I hated, and it's actually by one of Steph's favorite authors. So
Bill, which one?
Let me just say, I shouldn't have started with dark romance. I didn't realize that there were subgenres.
Okay.
It was a bad move on my part. But I read another, it was Alyssa Cole. I read Alyssa Cole, and that's when I was like, oh, this is it. We got happy endings. We got sex.
Okay.
So that was it for me. I was like, yes, good.
Okay, but what was the dark romance?
Yeah, we need to know.
It's called Redemption
Okay.
by Kenya. We share a last name. Kenya Wright.
I love her.
I love Listen to Me Right, but I
everybody
haven't
loves
read
her.
that one.
I hated that book with a burning passion. Me and my partner, we read it to each other like for shits and giggles. Like it
Taking it to a whole new level.
And that happens to be one book that I haven't actually read. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to go into it now. I'm like, whew.
I don't know if I've ever read that one either. Okay, it's weird. I don't know if y'all do this, but I remember books by their covers a lot more than their titles sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm like frantically trying to picture the cover of this book, and I don't think I've read it.
it's a I don't know how you're supposed to say it. It's a BWAM novel, Black Woman, Asian Man. Is that how you're supposed to say
I
it?
haven't read this one then. Okay,
yeah. And it's just like again, I think it's because it's a dark romance. I didn't expect it. I didn't have the terminology and the technicality to understand how it's supposed to be. So it could have just been that, but also I was like, this is not good.
Oh, we will get into dark romance. We will get there. Let us just start.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Noria, you look like you're just holding back your words. When did you first get into romance?
See, my story is a bit more complicated because it's like all over the place. I would say the first movie I watched that was more of a romance was, I think everybody watched it, was Sound of Music, actually, because I was like, yo, that captain was hot. I was like, that captain is hot, you know. He has way too many kids, which means he has excess baggage. But I'm like, that captain is kind of hot. He's kind of cute. Like, rest in peace, Christopher. Then I moved on to novels, right, when I was, like, I think 9 or 10, and everybody stole a romance novel from them. I stole a romance novel from my mother, right? And I can never forget. It was Janet Daly's Heiress. That was the first book where I read and I was like, yo, they're having sex, and they're having it was like, oh my god, because they were like twin sisters. And so they were like 2 different sex scenes in one book, and she was like, she's feeding me. I'm like, shit. Oh my god. And I couldn't say shit then because I was too young. And I could just hear my mother in my head, like, are you reading the sex scenes? And I'm like, oh my god. Joe, so this happened. So that was like my first intro. I'm like, I went from Sound of Music, wholesome, very cute, very nice, to boom, they're having sex in like a stack and shit. And I'm like, yo, this is like some cowboy kinky girl kinky things. And that's when I was like, so that's a kink. That's a good kink. I'm like, I'm to be having so yeah, that was the very first. And I jumped straight from that to Joanna Lindsay. Do not let us get started on historical romance erotica, because I'm like, those covers. You have to wrap them in like newspaper, and like newspaper so nobody can see stuff. Yeah. So that's my origin. That's my romance origin story.
Ooh, okay.
Holy crap. Wow.
Okay. How do you follow that up?
Right. You're like, that makes me.
I can't.
I did not steal romance novels from my mom. My mom has always been the political reader, the mystery, she's always been that kind of reader. So no, we didn't really have romance books in the house, but I've always been a reader. And I feel like I figured out I liked romance probably only like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. That's when I figured out I liked romance, because I always wrote it off as like, okay, great, like they're in love, like cool, like what? And so I've always read fantasy. And then I guess as I got older, I realized that some of the aspects I liked about fantasy involved the romance aspect. And then unfortunately, but fortunately, I read Sarah J. Maas, right? For like the first time a few years ago, like, right, don't come for me.
What is fortunately but unfortunately?
I'm Sarah J. Maas trash, so
it's one of those where it's just like you hate it or you love it, and I got to Akamath and first Akatar, like the tension that builds there, and I was like, ooh, I'm not gonna like this. And then like Akamath happened, and I was like,
Yup.
hey. But unlike Neeks, so then I delved into the booktube realm, somehow managed to find Steph's channel. And then if you find Steph's channel, you find Steph's Goodreads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everything went to shit in my budget did. Because unlike Neeks, my first true romance was actually a dark romance, and I fell in love from there.
Okay, well now you have to tell us which one it was.
Yeah.
It was Curing Dr. Vincent. Dr. Vincent. It's one of the Dr.
yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Oh,
that
okay.
series is hot. And if you can listen to it on audio, they won awards for the audiobook.
I believe it.
So hot.
Okay, you'll have to put the name of the book in the chat because so everyone else can have that on their TBR.
Yes.
That sounds real good.
It's so good. And I guess that book series and that book opened me up to the, like Neeks was saying, there are subgenres in fantasy, and then there's so much more that there can be in subgenres in romance, and there can be so much just like the relationship and love. Because there's so much behind that book that's not just the dirty, kinky sex.
Which is also good.
Yeah.
We do this house to stand the dirty kinky sex. We are in love with the dirty kinky sex. Dirty kinky sex is important.
So
oh my gosh.
My origin story is really kind of like I guess I was never a reader, like ever. Never. I didn't have to steal no books from my mom. She was super in the church, so there was none of that. There was none of that. I explored once I got out the house, not with reading, with everything else. And I actually didn't get into books until my husband bought me a Kindle so that I could do schoolwork. And that doesn't work out well because textbooks on Kindles just don't work. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. So once I was finishing my degrees, of course, it was the big boom of 50 Shades. And I was like, I can read that. And then Hurricane Sandy hit. So I was like, I most definitely can read that. I'm working 12-hour shifts, night shifts. I'll do my schoolwork and then I can sit here and read. And it was just downhill from there. And I mean, like seriously downhill from there because I went and started researching BDSM clubs here in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I was looking at all kinds of kinks and I was like, oh, what is this? What is this? I mean, before that, I read like Nicholas Sparks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's a whole conversation on its own. If it's not romance, it's not. Because he be killing people and
Nicholas Sparks does not write romance.
Ooh, and that's even before
he
found out he was a racist. Exactly.
Not
you know. And then, you know, years later we find out he's a racist and, you know, he's just completely cut off, just done. But I still enjoy the movies. The movies are on point. They have given me some amazing love stories and I'm just like, okay, I can dig this. But 50 Shades was the thing that got me in. And then I just started exploring because Amazon likes to do this thing. You just finished this? How about you try this? And it drove me to my favorite author, which the first book in her series starts off as a psychological thriller, not an actual romance. And then the series turns into a romantic suspense. So yeah. And then I fell down an interracial romance hole and it's just all of it. I'm just like, what? There's this huge world of everything that I could look for. If I want to read a female romance, or if I want to read a male romance, if I want to read a menage, if I want to read something that's about kidnapping and murder and just
secret societies,
craziness. Yes, secret societies and cults and really bad things, like bad things. It's so out there, and I'm just like, yes, I love it. Love it.
I think that's a misconception that a lot of people who either don't read romance or are unfamiliar with it have is that it's just boring because they don't want to just read about two people just being lovey-dovey, and they think it's corny or cheesy, and they don't understand all the different subgenres that exist underneath the romance umbrella. But you brought up a good point, and Noria, you spoke to this as well, about He Who Shall Not Be Named, who gave us those great movies. But you said he writes love stories and not romance. So my next question is, what does romance mean to you? Like when someone says, oh, this is a romance, what does that mean? What are you going into that expecting?
For me, there's one clear expectation, right? And it has to either be a happily for now or a happily ever after. And that is how the romance, like the romance writers of America have defined it. Like that is how you separate a love story from a romance. So if at the end of your story, your characters are not happily in love, going into the sunset, whether it's for now, whether it's ever after, right? But there has to be that. So Nicholas, who has this fondness of trying to manipulate us into feeling sad by, killing off the characters. Spoiler alert, sorry if you did not know this, but you pick up a Nicholas Spark novel, one of those characters is not going to survive to the
Someone's
end.
dying.
So, he's all doing all that bullshit and everything. I always feel I'm like, you're trying to manipulate me into feeling all sad and stuff. I did not sign up for this, you manipulator, you white manipulative person. You're not going to get me. So, like that's like my relationship. That's my relationship with Nicholas Spark. So if I was to define it, I would say if there is no happily for now or a happily ever after, right, then it's not a romance. And I do accept the fact that there are certain romances that take place over several books. So if it's like a series where the story is starting and it's taking like 10 books, so far as at the end of the 10 books, they get their happily ever after or happily for now, I'm like, cool, it's a romance. If not, I'm calling that author and I'm like, you with 10 fucking books, I want my money, I want my life, I want the space in my brain that has been dedicated to your fucking ass book. I want everything. Give me back my shit.
What series is this that has made Noria so angry? Because I'm like, I am like feeling that in my chest right now. That anger that you have is like, ooh, it is so palpable.
Yeah. Okay. You gotta spill the tea. Who did it? When was this? Who was this?
10 books.
That sounds personal.
Very personal.
Oh my god. I kind of understand what you mean. My other pet peeve, this is an aside, is people who clearly it should have just been like 1 or 2 books. This happens a lot with ebooks, but they'll cut it off after 75 pages and be like, you have to buy the next one. I hate that. But I digress. What do y'all think is the difference between a love story and a romance?
Probably what I think Noria really explained it in the best way possible.
Yep.
Just because I think, and this is only something that I had to recently learn, the happily ever after or happily for now is super important as a convention of this genre and all of its subsequent subgenres. So I think that's the allure of romance, is that that by the end of this book, you are going to have a happy feeling and not a oh shit, we just jumped off a cliff and I have to wait a year for another book. I hate that feeling. I also very much love it, which is why I love fantasy. But you know what I'm saying?
And it doesn't matter if the author tortures you in between there. They killing off people, they killing off secondary characters, they're killing off kids, they're doing just horrible things to our main characters. But at the end of it, if 2 people are not together, or I shouldn't say 2 people, if the main
love
configuration of love is not there,
the main configuration, I love it,
of love is not there, then I'm gonna put you in the freezer, as one of my booktube friends say. I'm gonna throw you across the room. Oh my goodness, it's not good.
And a love story is totally okay too, but like don't
Yeah.
call it a
Mhm.
romance.
Right.
There's an
Correct.
expectation with romance.
Correct. It's the
I
same
found
way with
that-
women's fiction. Women's
Yes.
fiction is fine. Don't market a women's fiction book as a romance or a
Mhm.
rom-com or something like that when the love interest doesn't happen until 80% and then it's not believable.
Absolutely.
True.
What?
Yes.
You just told
And-
me a story for 80% and there's no getting
There's no
down,
banging
there's no
yet?
smooches, there's
We're
no
bamboozled.
some
I
little
need
looks.
parts smashing together
Yes.
Exactly.
soon.
And that happens so much now because romance has really taken off in popularity because it has become a lot more mainstream in the sense that, like you said, it's heavily included in fantasy now, especially a lot of YA fantasy. And so it has really taken off. And so because of that, you do have a lot of people marketing their books as romance when it is women's fiction or just like a chick lit. I hate that title, but just, you know, chick lit, or, you know, you're following the character as they stumble through life trying to figure things out. And that includes their love life, but it's not a romance. And they do it because they understand that if you say the romance label anywhere in the description, people are going to buy.
Correct. Yep.
Which
and
irritates the heck out of me.
What's interesting is I think that I know we don't technically like the label chicklet, but I think it has to do with a sort of I guess Americanized we say women's fiction, whereas European says chicklet.
That's true.
It's kind of like the same thing. Like I know a lot of people put Sophie Kinsella's books into chicklet, and I'm just like, but is it really chicklet or is it just a romance? And I've heard someone say something about like chicklet is rom-com, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna need you not, because rom-com, romantic comedy. I need a comedy with a happily ever after. So it's not a chicklet.
No, but you know, there's also the part of chicklet that has to do with female development and empowerment, right? And because publishing has always found things that had to do with women something to be mocked, that was why they ended up saying it's chicklet to, you know, just like some chicklet has romance in it, right? There are some chicklets that have more to do with a woman finding herself, finding her agency, having fun, right? So Sophie Kinsella sometimes, you know, writes a mix of like comedy and a woman self-discovering as well as romance, and so they've just categorized her as a chicklet author. And I think that in itself, that's because I read a lot of chicklets as well, and every time I see that term, I just get very pissed because I'm like, yes, I know women are trying to reclaim it in publishing and in reading and everything else, but I always remember that the reason why it was coined that way was to kind of make it seem like a subgenre of books that women read that do not contain serious themes, as if reading about our stories and us finding self-development and growth is not in itself something serious to be considered as like real literature, in quotes. And I put that in quotes because publishing is very male and it's just fucking annoying.
Oh yes, which is why I think it's that whole equivalent to women's fiction. So yeah, I completely agree, Maria.
What are some of your favorite subgenres within romance, and how do you think that that's kind of informed the way that you read?
Well,
Uh-oh. Why do I feel like things have are about to take a turn?
Our life is about to take a page turn.
Exactly.
Right?
love it.
I gotta get prepared for this answer.
So definitely some of the subgenres that I'm like, this is definitely going to be picked up, which I feel like has told me more about myself more than about my reading, which is probably a little bit scarier. Is when I'm like, okay, so is it a dark romance? Let's put that on there. Is it I'm always down for an enemies to lovers. I love the tension. I love the angst about it. Like it just I'm like, yeah, I hate him too. But like he kind of cute. Like yeah.
He's fine though.
He's fine. It's cool. It's cool. Let me think. And those are just, those are like non-fantasy. And then I feel like when I read fantasy stories, like I've been reading a lot of Katie Robert, who does like almost like Greek mythology retellings with her Wicked Villains ones. So when I do the like fantasy, it almost seems to have to do with like mythology or some sort of Disney or fairy tale or something like that, just because then you kind of get like the happy, like fun, like your favorite Disney characters, but it's dirty as hell and you're like,
right.
Right. Yeah, I do really like the villains. Okay.
It's like the reimaginings, but way naughtier.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so, but yeah, I think just like some of those, you're just like, wait, what does this tell me about myself? Huh? What would my husband think? Let's try it out.
Yeah, my husband doesn't know anything that I read. I've put a couple videos up where he's in them and, we guess book covers and things like that. He's usually completely off. The authors usually love them because he's so super inventive with their covers. But yeah, if he actually knew some of the covers that I did show him were dark romances. Yeah.
I made Eric listen to Akatar.
Oh my!
How was that? How was that?
It was fun. Because in the beginning he's like so bored because he's not a reader at all. And so in the beginning he was so bored, but I would just like make him listen. Like you gotta wait, because I know there are some parts you're actually going to like, but like the whole entire time. I'm sorry if you haven't read Akatar. The whole entire time over there, like, bitch ass too. And he's like, India, shut up, I'm listening. But it starts getting to like the fighting and like things like that, and he's like, okay, I can listen to this, I can do that.
Yeah, those are the parts that he was interested in.
Right. And so he started to listen to it, and then like we got to Akamath, and I don't even know if we made it to the mountain before we stopped listening.
Before he checked out.
Before we just got distracted.
Don't make that man listen to no more.
Yeah, the only book I've made my husband listen to was Ready Player One, and both the husband and the son were like, this is torture. And they had to listen to it because we were on our way home from
they were trapped
in Tennessee. They were trapped. And I was driving. I was like, I'm driving, so y'all got to listen to it. So it was 4 hours. It was 4 hours. Thank goodness it was digital because I sped it up.
Oh my God.
But they're both Will Wheaton fans, and they were like, no, this was the most boring book ever. I don't ever want to listen to another book, and I can't get them to listen to a book. But I found that some of my
what? Sorry, Steph? No, I was gonna say I found that people, when they actually start listening or reading romance, are pleasantly surprised by what they find. Like I've recommended romance to people that don't usually read it, and they're shocked to find more than what they thought. Like their assumptions, they thought that, oh, it's just going to be some lovey story, and then they find so much more. They find so much more depth. They get sucked into the relationship between the characters. They start to root for them and things of that nature. So I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit more about like the different subgenres that we really love and are near and dear to our hearts, and maybe we can get some book recommendations for people who may not be so familiar with romance. So I've heard a lot of dark romance so far, and maybe people are unfamiliar. So I want to talk more about what is dark romance. What is dark romance to you?
Take it away, Steph.
Give us the definition.
So, dark romance for me is all the like taboo, unforgivable, forbidden type things. So I place forbidden and taboo under dark romance. So that can be a lot of kidnapping, cults, murder, on-page rapes, or non-consent, non-consent type things happening within a book, traumatic events. And, sometimes it's really hard to read. Like the whole is it Dirty Kisses? No. Why am I The Lion and the Mouse series by Kenya Wright?
Oh my God, I'm listening to that right now.
Is
I think I have actually read that. Yeah, I think I've read that.
So it's Russian mafia. I fell into it over the summer after watching 365, and I was just like, oh my goodness, there's just something grabbed me about it. And what I was able to learn a little bit more from an interview with Kenya is that, she does a similar thing that Beverly Jenkins does, which is put a lot of education into her works, which is exploring the Russian culture, exploring, different European foods, and the racism that went on with it, and things like that, into this high action packed mafia craziness. And I just love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, I think what I love the most about dark romance is that it's psychological more than anything else. There are a lot of like the tropes that I can't really stomach and I'm just not going to be down for, but I do love the psychological aspect of it and just exploring the human psyche and why people like the things that they like, even when they've been told that it's wrong or that this situation shouldn't make them feel the way that it does, but yet it still does. It's like a deep dive of like psychology and the way the human mind works and how it's connected to the heart and all that good stuff. Someone asked a question a while back that I wanted to work up to, but I really wanted to also really talk about Black romance too. I wanted to talk about, the Black romances that we've read, but more specifically that title of Black romance. Oh, here's the question. So do you think Black romance novels are more popular now because people want to see more Black love in the face of anti-Black racism? That's a good one.
Very much so.
I hope so.
I think, very much so. I think people don't want to be on the wrong side of what is culturally and societally acceptable right now. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to be seen as an ally. And if that means reading two Black characters in a romance because they hadn't read it before, they're going to digest and grab for it any way they possibly can. I do read some two Black character romances. It is not something that I'm completely gravitating to just because of usually it's the dialogue that's used for me. But I know that there is an audience for it, and I've read a couple, and I'm more than happy to recommend them. Like there's an author named B Love. She has a production company, and when I first started, as a matter of fact, I read her series. I don't remember what the exact series name of it is, but it's like Love something, but it's like it has 4, maybe 5 books in it. And I really enjoyed the story, and it has two Black characters overcoming the things that are, that they are downplayed in or have to deal with in their neighborhoods. And it's a great love story. I personally gravitate to interracial romance. So if there are some other recommendations for Black love, I am all here for it. I'm gonna stop talking. That's what I'm saying.
Noria, are you here with us? I know you're having some internet issues. Okay, so we're gonna can you hear me, Noria? Well, she did give us a disclaimer, so I'm gonna wait for her to come back. But Neeks, interested to hear your thoughts. Have you read any Black romance? And
I've gotten really into it. This is my following statement. Please don't judge me for it. I've actually never dated a Black person. So
really?
yeah, they in my area, they don't like me. I don't understand what it is. So
Oh, that's a whole nother discussion.
it truly
Oh,
is.
yes, very much
So
so.
I've literally only been in interracial relationships. So when I first started reading romance, that's kind of what I read first because I was like, oh, this
Okay.
is familiar. But the other thing is like I love my parents and I have two beautiful Black brilliant parents. So then I was like, I'm gonna read. I purposefully made a point to read more Black romance featuring obviously two or more Black protagonists. So
Right.
so that, and I think that it's really helped me. Not that I had a problem with Black love, but it helped me remember that like it's beautiful and it needs to be celebrated because in this world that we live in a society where there have been attempts to break up the Black nuclear family, let's be real, like historical context, I think it's important for us to remember that, you know, Black love is beautiful. Black love put a lot of us on this earth. So I want to celebrate that more in myself. So while that's probably not in the cards for me, it's in the cards for a lot of people, and I want to celebrate that.
Right. Yeah, I fell into reading Black romance as a young girl, you know, finding like Omar Tyree, who is, you know, was like the OG, and reading a lot of them when I was like in middle school, high school. And then I noticed that there's a difference between the Black romance that's being written now, which a lot of the Black romance authors are independent authors. And then there's also something I like to call street lit, which focuses more on the streets and what goes on in the more grittier urban areas. So to me, I like to make a distinction between the two. I think there is a very clear distinction.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I am obsessed with Black romance. I think it's so important to read about Black love. And I think it's revolutionary because of the society. I mean, it shouldn't be, but because of the society that we live in. And I think it's important to have that and to read that. But I do think that it is making like a resurgence of sorts, and it's becoming way more popular now because of everything that's been going on. But yeah, I don't think we got to hear from Noria or India on this topic, so I will pass the mic to Noria. You still, yay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm here, I think. Fingers crossed. Yes! Oh, my ancestors come through. Sorry, what was the question?
The question was Black romance. You know, what does it mean to you? And have you read any? And how do you feel about it? Also, more specifically, I think that Injiri was talking about, let me see if I can find her question again, because it was actually really good. There we go. Do you think that Black romance novels are more popular now because people want to see more Black love in the face of anti-Black race? Yes.
I think for me, I think it's half and half, right? I do think that yes, in the face of anti-Black racism, having more Black romance be put in the forefront is a kind of, you know what, we exist, we deserve to live, we love, we have great sex, amazing, fantastic sex, and we're also living our best lives, right? So I think that that has also been there, but I also think that there have also been Black romance novels even before, because I think, I don't know if I would call it a renaissance, but like there's been this wave where people have started like picking up interest and they're like, oh my God, Black romance. And I'm like, you're saying it like it has not always existed. Like it has not always been there. Like there have not always been Black writers telling Black romance and giving us Black love stories. They have always been present. You are just discovering it. And yes, that is a good thing for you. Don't make it seem like, oh, it's new. It's not new. And but I also agreed. I think that with the blatant way in which racism has also, you know, I won't say reared its head because it's always been there, but I think that white supremacy and the white patriarchy has decided that it's going to go for more than a mile because it's been able to get away with it for so long. So with that even more highly visible racism, there's also been, stories that are told to combat that, right? And we have stories that, you know, talk about, you know, Black people and our experience, right? But then at the same time, they're also, because remember that stories have always been a way for us to understand understand the world around us, but also to make a point, to make a statement. I know a lot of people think that, oh, books are not necessarily political, but I would tell you that even the most happy, fun thing is making a stand. Maybe the stand is, do you know what? I am going to be me. I love to shop, so I'm going to shop. I love to bake, so I'm going to bake. That in itself is taking a stand. So I think that we have, different form of books. Like we've seen Black fantasy, talk about that. There have been authors that have said that, oh, the reason why I wrote this book like this is to basically, and this is me paraphrasing because most authors are nicer because they have to maintain this image, but a big fuck you to white supremacy. So I'm going to write this Black fantasy and give my characters these powers. And I think it's the same thing for Black romance. It's a way of, okay, do you know what? I also want to give a big fuck you and say, we are living, we are loving, we're doing great, and we're having great sex. Let's not forget the great sex. So I would say that, yes, I would say, like I said, I would say it's yes for both. But I just want to stress the fact that Black romance has been in existence, right? I've been reading Brenda Jackson because, yes, she writes some interracial romance, which, by the way, we all do know that Black romance requires two Black characters in love in a romantic relationship. Because I've seen people like change the definition, and I'm like, do you all need a dictionary for Christmas? I could gift you one, like free on me. Don't worry, I'll send it to your house. Just give me your address. But like Brenda Jackson has been writing that, and I remember because the very first time, right? And I remember the very first time I read Beverly Jenkins. The very first time I read Beverly Jenkins, it was when she was writing for Avon. She's still writing for Avon, but like when Avon really first started, right? Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, two Black characters. Jesus, thank you. Because I was a teenager and I'm like, this is the story I want to see. These are the, the love story I want to see. And Brenda Jackson was doing that for me. She was doing that for me for Mills and Boons, right? She wrote for M&B, she wrote for Silhouette, and she wrote for all the subgenres of Silhouette. Like if you were reading romance in the late 90s and the early 2000s, you know that there was like the Silhouette, there was the Silhouette Heat, there was the Silhouette Intrigue. Oh my God. And you're like, oh God, and she was writing and you could see Black love, Black romance, and it was perfect. So I would say yes, and I will also say, but that has always been the case. It's just that now more people are realizing it, and that's why it seems like that. I don't know if I've been able to fully express what I have in my brain, because I have it like clear cut in my brain, and I'm just trying to tell you. So say it like, hope it works. Sorry,
you've done a great job. Thank you. And India, any thoughts?
I'm gonna stop going after Noria.
Right?
She brings the heat. She brings the heat. She's just schooling us. It's just like, okay, this is the Noria show. Let Noria.
Here I am. Like, what was the question? Was
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Black
Let's back up.
The black love question by and Jerry. While I try to remember the question. So I feel like
here it is right here. Do you think
yes, I do think that Black romance novels are more popular. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say, since Noria has given us the definition of Black romance, I am not going to say that Black romance novels are more popular. I'm going to say Black authors are more popular. Because since we've decided, since the definition that has been decided is Black romance is between two or more characters, a lot of Black authors write a lot of interracial romances, and sometimes going in, like, I don't really look at covers, unlike Oshale. Like, I read a lot on my Kindle, so a lot of the time it's like I don't remember what the cover is. So so I don't know who we're gonna see. And then on top of that, a lot of stock covers by a lot of Black authors don't necessarily have Black people on the cover either. So you don't really know sometimes who is going to be in there until you get in. Right?
Okay.
And so I definitely think that there has been an influx of reading Black authors during this time. But I also think due to publishing and all the stuff in publishing, a lot of Black authors, one, I learned from Steph's channel, some Black authors don't even put out that they're Black for a long time. Just because, so that way people will read their books and all that kind of stuff. And then some, like I was saying earlier, so sometimes you don't know that there's not going to be two Black characters in love. When I do find Black characters in love, a lot of times I'm really excited when it is two Black characters in love that are just normal people. Like that are just, I mean, I'm not saying how Oshale put street lit isn't normal, but like I feel like sometimes when we focus on Black love, we only focus on that aspect of Black culture and the Black experience, where it's like, I want to see two doctors banging in the on-call room that are both Black, and I want to see those things too. Like I want to see code switching between them at home and them between their personal lives. Like I just, I want to see, yeah, exactly. And Jerry, I just want to see just casual Black love that doesn't necessarily come from the streets. Like we don't all come, like a lot of us are very fortunate to not have come from the streets, but we do understand where the streets come from. But sometimes we just want to be like, I want to go to Kroger and or Sheets or like whatever you have in your neck of the world.
I think what it is, it goes back to that place of, and Blackness is not a monolith. You want to see stories that you can relate to, I think is what you're really saying. Because it's like, I've read a lot of street lit and they're very varied in terms of like the people and their careers and what they do and who they are. It's more street lit because it's a little bit grittier. Their musical talkie brings up a good point. Like it's more about the style of the book. Yeah, it's a little bit about the environment, but it's more about the style of the writing and the things that go on in the books versus, reading like a Christina C. Jones book where she's gonna give you that like contemporary, this guy is a coffee shop owner and she's a jazz musician. It's going to give you that contemporary, everyday, casual feel versus a street lit author, which is going to give you a little bit of a grittier, like, oh, he owns, these gas stations, but he maybe bought them with drug money when he was younger. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a different vibe, which I enjoy the variety, but I 100% know what you're saying. But I think that comes from the authors, like you said, they're getting more popular, but just them getting their names out there more and them getting themselves more out there so they can present, hey, this is what I write and this is what it's about and you can relate to it. But this other author also writes this and you can, some people might be able to relate to what's different. But I wanted to talk about, okay, so we've seen some comments where people are asking to talk about, and this is a little bit of like an inside joke here, but to talk about monster smut, which I saw it, I had to go there.
Okay, listen, in preparation for this panel, okay, I didn't read monster smut, but I read time traveling Viking werewolf smut, okay? I got so excited.
I mentioned monster smut before we start. Your life would never be the same. Like there has to be, like, when they go BC, there has to be BT before tentacle porn. Because my life before I read tentacle porn was all boring and shit. Now I cannot look at an octopus the same way again. Because I'm like, all them hands, the things they can do, the things I've read about them doing. Oh shit. Tentacle porn is the shit. Oh god.
What did I name this book? Because now I need to go look at it. I need to go look it up.
Oh my god. I read them out of order.
Arms, people. Multiple arms.
Now, Noria, you know good and well you have to give the book recommendations because they're not going to let you get away with that. You need to put
What is India doing?
Sorry, my dogs are over here. Just
yes. Okay, so
be involved. They heard me dying of laughter.
I'm gonna respect India and not have her go after Noria. So Steph.
No. See, we didn't get the name of this book from Noria yet, because I kind of need that. Because, see, I would just put that under the umbrella of paranormal. Because, I mean, it sounds like something I need to read, though.
Wait, I have to find the series name for the time traveling Viking werewolf dragon hybrid book.
Yes,
we need that one too.
Oh my god,
we need that one too.
But seriously, Noria, I need this book. Like, can we?
I think her internet. Hold on, I think her internet's frozen.
Oh, no.
Are you still with us, Noria? You still here?
We'll come back to this. Everybody remember to bother Noria.
Write it down somewhere, please.
Right.
Please write it down somewhere.
Wow.
Were we supposed to be talking about a certain question? Because I mean,
I'm confused now.
We were supposed to be talking about monster smut.
What is monster smut? Does this go under paranormal?
It
see,
absolutely does.
I totally place it under, and the weirder the better. Like there's this series by this author that I found on TikTok. Her name is Storm Song, and it's like a mix between vampires, wolves, magic, like witches, and then the Hunger Games. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. Yes. It's called The Vampire Trials. I've only read the first book, but it has like a serious Hunger Games theme going through it, and I was like here for it. I need to like circle back and finish the rest of the series because that definitely has me hooked. I also have on my list of things to read this supposed alien book by
tell me which one. Maybe it's one I've read.
Where is she? It's like K Blue, and I believe she's a Black author. I'm pretty sure she's a Black author. But it's like I have way too many things on my Kindle.
You're just scrolling, aren't you?
Yeah, I sure am. I'm just like, no, not gonna find it. Let's see how I can look it up because it's on my Kindle Unlimited. There we go. Oh, it's called His Captive.
You found it? His Captive?
Yeah. His Captive. And it's just a man's chest, but I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be an alien.
Is he blue?
And I don't know. He has like this weird sort of tone to him.
Look at us.
By who?
Let me see.
Right there. That one right there. His Captive.
And I see it.
Right there.
Okay.
And then the vampire one is this one right there.
Vampire Trials. I see it.
Yes. Okay. That is by the way, it's also reverse harem, which means homegirl is the one controlling all the men. The werewolf.
Do y'all like the reverse harem trope? I can't get with it.
I couldn't either. But that one right there, the only issue I have is their clothes kept falling off. Like any situation they got into, that was like the line, and their clothes fell off. They were doing this. They were running through the maze, and their clothes fell off.
Lord,
I was like, okay.
They needed better constructed clothing.
Like get a belt,
right? Exactly.
I got Avery Ward dragons. They are shifters.
Okay, dragon tip.
Yes.
Yes. Love a good dragon.
Yes.
I just want to warn everyone though, if you do read her Dragon King duet thing, the mechanics of the male parts, they descend from within the Dragon Man. So
thank you, Lord. Oh, hallelujah! Is it big? Is it big?
I mean, there's two of them, so that's fun.
Wait, what?
Yeah, adding more into here. Oh, okay. Cool.
Wow.
So
wow. Okay.
But it's the Dragons Love Curve series, and it's paranormal. dragon shifters. There's a couple witches. It's a whole bigger series that follows
Ooh.
individual dragons throughout bigger fantasy story going on into the world ship, evil, dark versus light, all that kind of stuff.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
So many book recommendations. We
Yeah.
definitely have to make sure we get all of them in the chat so people can check them out if they're interested.
So to go a little lighter, right? JJ McAvoy does this. I guess she has this new series that is supposed to be a trilogy, and it's called His Princess Bride, and it's supposed to be sort of inspired by Harry and Meghan. So
I love that series
because I love them.
Series.
I love Harry and Meghan. So I'm super excited to get to that one, and it's on KU. So,
That's a good series. I just finished reading the third and final book. It came out last Friday. Highly recommend. It's a great series.
Nice.
I've got a random question for you all. I asked this question, I feel like, to everybody in my wind downs. I mean, I know the answer for some of y'all, but I want to know for the chat. I want to know, are you guys fade to black readers, or are you let's get down and dirty. Let's do this. I just got to know. I always like to know. I'm of course not a fade to black. If it fades to black, I'm a little annoyed.
I'm pissed.
Oh yeah.
I am just like, what was the lead up for? Like why we do all this and then I don't get to see it? I don't
What is this?
Right.
I'm also one of those people that's like, if they're not banging by chapter, like depending on how big the book is, if they're not banging by chapter 10, I'll want it. Like, I get mad.
Throw it out.
I feel like I can appreciate a good slow burn if I really like the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And if the tension is really good, then it's like you're really excited to get to when you finally do get together. So I feel like there are a few writers who can do it successfully, and you're like happy the whole time you're reading. You're like, yes. But then some writers, you're just like, why? This is a waste.
Yeah.
Get it done with.
What was the point?
Like this.
That's what I'm like.
Here.
But that good slow burn, you be over here like, oh, hold on.
Wait, what books are those you're holding up?
We can't see that.
This is a series by Brenda Jackson. Okay, it's called Love in Catalina Cove. Right, and
Neeks, I feel like you
right here are straight. Like I can't. See, I don't know. But anyways, Love in Catalina Cove, right? So it is like soap opera, drama, craziness. And if I'm not mistaken, I am pretty sure that all of the characters in these books are black because Catalina Cove is down on the Louisiana coast in the Gulf.
Oh,
but it's such juicy drama that small town and all kinds. Oh, there we go. So we got Forget Me Not. But nope, that one doesn't start it off.
That's not where it starts. It starts in Love in Catalina Cove. Y'all always trying to have them start in the middle.
Yeah, you got to start here. Start here.
Okay.
And then read this one right here, Forget Me Not.
Yes.
And then read Finding Home Again. Because these characters in this book right here are in these two books. And you're like, excuse me, ma'am, Miss Brenda, I need you to write the story because I need to know why they're not together. Because their sexual tension in these two books is off the page. And then you're like, what? Okay. And I would have to say these are slow burns. They're pretty slow burns. But there's so much drama and tension around it that you're just like, okay, I can give that.
Noria, give us the tentacle book.
Thank you, Tati. I did not know that she only writes Black love. So that just confirms that all the characters in there are Black.
Noria is back. Can you hear us, Noria?
Finally.
Yes.
I think so, but my internet is acting weird. Can you all hear me? And
we can hear you.
Fading in and out, and I'm like, I can't really hear stuff. Okay.
Time to drop some more knowledge, please.
What is the tentacle book? Focus.
Sorry, what was the question?
What is the name of the tentacle book?
Everybody wants to know. We've been waiting.
Mm-hmm.
What?
What is the name of the tentacle book?
Hello?
Hello? Give us the tentacles, Noria.
Okay, shit. My internet.
Let's see if I
What?
can put it on the screen.
Do
for
I-
her.
Tentacles.
I said I like tentacles.
The tentacles.
Oh, we need the name of the tentacle book. Oh shit. I have to hold up. Let me Google and get back.
Okay.
Let me Google and get back. Also, because I'll have you know, the good thing about tentacle porn is like you don't need any form of lubrication because you know, like they secret stuff and it's like natural lube. I need to find this. Hold up, let me find the title for you all. You all are laughing, but you don't understand. You don't understand what you're missing. Hold up, give me a second.
Wow, I definitely need this now.
I'm so dead. I'm so dead.
Natural lubrication. Who knew inking was sexy?
This has gone to a strange place.
Yes, we have. Very, very strange.
Okay, but okay, I have lots of questions about this. So, is this like under the sea? Are they shifters? Like, where? Like, because I feel like you have to be moist.
Ew.
To maintain.
Can we just get the
You're
book
welcome,
so we can,
everybody.
we can learn for ourselves? Because I think I need to be in private to experience this.
It is a good question though. Like, is this a man? Like on the land?
Like, I have questions. Like,
Is he like,
They only live in the water.
does this
or-
have to happen in the tub?
where is the tentacle coming
Because
from?
you know, water is dry.
The only way I can think is that it's a shift. It has to be a shifter.
Is
Right.
inking the equivalent of pre-cum?
Oh,
Right.
India.
Oh, we're going there.
I just need to know. Okay, is the tentacle coming from like an
I am
arm?
so
Is it coming from a place?
Is
I'm
it just
thinking
one
of it
tentacle,
more
or
like-
is it multiple
I'm
tentacles?
thinking of it like a mermaid romance, like where they have to get in the water and then they change.
Yeah,
Is it a squid or an octopus?
it matters.
We have so many questions going, and poor
I
Nora is
know.
frozen.
Noria's frozen.
You'll never be able to answer these questions now.
This
The
is the
tentacles
worst.
could be alien. They could be.
We're just like, and how does this work? Please tell us how this works.
This is the worst
Does
cliffhanger.
anyone know of any mermaid romances? Because now I'm intrigued.
Tentacle cooch?
Unfortunately, not by Black authors.
I'm
There's
trying
a
to
series
think.
by Tiffany Roberts
Pisces.
that are about krakens.
What is Pisces?
Krakens.
Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
And
I have a
it's
question.
like futuristic. So
What's like your dream romance book? Pick your
that's
genre and then
interesting
tell us like the basic elements you want in it.
Yes.
So I wouldn't mind having my favorite author write me into a dark romance where I'm kidnapped and bad things happen to me, like weirdly. I don't know why. I don't. Know
What about the
why.
hero? Like, what is the story, the backstory with the love story? Give us everything. Take me there. Put me in the scene.
Okay, wait,
Picture.
okay, hold on. Can we start off easy and can we just say, can we go around first and say the top 3 tropes you would want in your romance story? So I gotta come back.
Okay, so your top 3 tropes.
No, I like it.
Okay, top 3 tropes: secret baby, dark romantic, natured, age gap. I'm sorry. I like me a silver fox. I'm sorry. I like that.
That was
Okay.
unexpected.
Okay.
Gap, secret baby, interesting.
That's very interesting.
And right, and
I
dark
want to delve
romance.
into that. But we
Because
get
I'm gonna stay forever 25. So it's
okay.
Black don't crack, baby.
I think for me, I really like the bully romance. Enemies to lover and bully romance are like cousins, you know? So I like that vibe. I also really enjoy sports romance. So if we could somehow have a sports romance with the bullying / enemies to lovers aspect, that takes place in a fantasy world, or like.
So what would your sport be if it's in fantasy?
Maybe something completely made up. But I want the hero to be like very testosterone, like driven, like they are in the sports romances. I love that. I don't know what it is about me, but I love like the ultra alpha.
I love me
heroes. I don't know. It's probably revealed something about my psyche, but it's like the ones that are very bossy and they're just like, sit down. It's like,
sit down.
I was like, oh, me? But I hate you. I really hate you. Yeah, that'd be my story.
I love that. I'm in love with that.
Interesting.
Do you wanna do yours, India? I think I'm still missing one in my brain.
I know, right? Okay. Let me think. So I need a boss ass bitch.
Thank you. Finally. Okay.
But I need a boss ass bitch, but I need her when she's at home to have an alpha partner.
Yeah.
Like she's boss ass bitch at work, but an alpha partner at home. Like, you know, where it's like, you're home now, you listen to me. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go with, I gotta have an enemies to lovers. I gotta have the tension, the angst. Like, can you come to my level? I don't even like you. And let me think. What's the last good trope that just like brings it all together? You know what? With that enemies to lovers, I'm gonna add in fake dating.
Forced proximity too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love that whole one bed thing.
That one bed thing. There's something about
it.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a good thing. Mm-hmm. It is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to agree with India's first one. I like when you have like the alpha woman character or alpha femme, whichever way you want to go. But then as soon as they get home, they're like, take me away. I love that. Like, but I also
yes, daddy.
Yeah, yes, dad. I'll never snitch on you, daddy.
That is hilarious.
I love
just a little bit.
This is the worst panel ever.
So what you're saying is you want to be snatched up. That's what you're saying.
No, because I'll kill somebody. Like, that's not for me.
No, you gotta have the rules and the boundaries in the bedroom.
You gotta have the rules, like non-consensual outside. Or what is it? Consensual non-consent, totally fine. Yeah. But that's why I have such an issue with dark romance, because I'm like, this. They didn't talk about this before. You putting a sack on my head? No, we talked. No,
I get that.
So yeah, mine would be that, but I think that I would also like for the story to look like it's going to be a love triangle, but in the end, it's all of them together, because I just think
menage.
Yeah, I want a menage. I want us to be fluid in our love and in our sexual interactions. That would be a dream for me.
Yeah.
And then for the thing that ties it together, maybe like it has to be something with fantasy. I love fantasy too much to leave it out. So probably like I don't want to go shifter. Let's go with witches and the like, magic. Some sort of witchy element where they have to go on a quest.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a quest.
You like a good.
Okay, so I need a romance. Yeah. I need a recommendation for a romance with a witch, because I don't think I've read enough.
So many, yeah. Let me see what's in my Kindle.
Yeah,
like werewolves, I got covered. Vampires, I got covered. I don't have very many witchy romance novels that I can like.
I think there is this one series by an author I love called Desiree. That's her newest paranormal series. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it has witches and other paranormal creatures in there. Let me see if I can pull it up.
There's a new one. It's not Black Love, but the main witch she's black and she's like trapped in a town, right?
Yeah.
Or something. I forgot what it's called.
Why are you talking about Scarlet Witch or Wanda?
Madam. First of all, brilliant series. How dare you?
No, okay, we can't talk about it because I have not watched this week's, so we can't talk about it.
I'm not spoiling it at all because that needs to be experienced organically, and I will never spoil it ever.
But oh yes, it is so good, so good.
God, I cannot remember the name. But a Beautifully Bookish Bethany did like a whole video on it, and I was so interested to read it, and I didn't even buy it. So I'm the clown.
I'm like, and I would ask Jess too. Jess always has lists.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mila Nix has a witch story. Because the only one, Mila, I read her dual parent, single parent story with like cooking and stuff like that. I was all for it. Oh, Moni, yes, I need to read her.
Okay, I found the series that I was talking about. It's by Desiree, and it's the Moon series. Let me see if I can find the covers. It starts with this first book. They're very trippy, like very trippy, but Desiree is a fantastic storyteller. So she'll get you wrapped up, and you're just like, that's the cover of the first one.
Is that Hoodwinked?
Hoodwinked. There are 3 or 4 books in the series. Let me put she only goes by one name, which is hilarious to me. Let me just put it in the chat.
I definitely read that as Blood Itched, so I just read all of it wrong. Imagine what I was about to Google.
Oh my god. That's hysterical.
Oh, good goodness. Poly, I'm trying to think. I haven't read any poly relationships.
I think I've read some years ago. I went through
by black authors or with black characters.
Katrina Jackson.
I don't.
She does it.
Put that author in the chat for those who are interested.
I think it's just Pink Slip right now. Let me type it in.
Okay.
I think it's just Pink Slip right now, but those same characters all appear in the book after it. So I think they're going to appear in the book after that one as well. So it should be fun. But they are poly, and there's a closed triad. I saw someone mention that, and I would also like to see more non-closed triads. But at least people are talking about polyamory now, and that's the best we can hope for at this point, I guess.
What's the difference between closed and not closed? I feel like I know it, just to make it clear.
So you get to, like, let's say you are polyamorous with your partner. Basically, you get another partner, and you're like, this is it. We're only being these 3 people, instead of being like, so this third person that we bought in can now go get their own partner, their own primary maybe, and then something like that. So it just depends on where you're limiting the like togetherness. So it can be a triangle, it can be a square, giant circle. I don't know.
Question.
Wait, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I know my internet is acting weird, but can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Now we can. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 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 So, like, the thing about open polyamorous relationships, right, is that
hold on.
everything has to do with, because in every
Noria, before we lose you again, we need the book title.
She's not letting this go.
I think we put it in the chat.
What? No, I already said it.
Chat.
Like, it was put in the chat. It's Regal and Sparkle by Megan Hare, and it's actually queer because the shifter is a kraken, right? So the shifter is a kraken that does shift, change like appearances. I think sometimes is male, sometimes is female. But Megan Hare did not actually openly say that maybe they are non-binary, but it's a queer shifter tentacle erotic story. I repeat, the fluids, secretions make great lube. That's all I'm gonna say. This
is it, everybody.
What is it? Wait, I can't.
What?
Wow.
Wiggle and sparkle.
Wriggle and sparkle. Okay.
Oh, wriggle. Oh, I can't read. I couldn't either.
I couldn't read it either. I got it now. Okay, we can talk about polyamory now. Go back.
Yes, Noria, explain.
I'm so intrigued.
Right now.
Can you hear us, Noria?
Wait, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, exactly, Gina. Yeah.
What?
They were talking
Can
about
someone
the
put
difference
it in the chat? Because can someone put the question in the chat? Because I don't know if it's my headphones or if it's the internet, but your words keep going in and out and sound very vacuumy, and I'm losing part of it.
it's already there.
Okay. So is the question about the definition of what's the difference between an open polyamorous relationship and a closed triad? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can continue the conversation on poly. Yes. So what I was trying to explain, right? Because I am bisexual and I am polyamorous, although I'm currently
Right.
not in a relationship, right? But the way in which it works, because remember, a polyamorous relationship is also defined by set rules and boundaries. You have to set that for your relationship to work. So you have to decide. Now, if it is that you're already a triad, in that there are already 3-4 people in your relationship, right? And so what makes it polyamorous is the fact that there are, of course, more than 2 people. If it's closed, then you all are not looking for a 5th person or a 6th person to join the group. So you're poly-loving, but within your group of 3-4 lovers that you're already in an established relationship. But if it is open, is in the sense that you're allowed, you're looking for a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, depending on how you want to do it. I also read a lot of harem romances, so the more people, the better, right? It's way better.
That
6,
was my
7, thank
question.
you. But what?
That was my next question, following with how does harem romance fit into this?
Or
That's,
orgy romance.
How does what?
Harem romances. So
I can't
typically,
spell
Yes,
harem.
harem
so
romances.
someone
How
type
does
in.
it fit into what?
harem, they fit in, but it's usually because man controls everything else down the line. So all of those partners that are in the harem are for him, and then you have reverse harem, obviously. So all of those partners are for one person, versus those people in the harem also having their own freedom and agency to go find their own sexual partners.
Wait, so how does harem romance fit into a closed or open polyamorous relationship? Okay, into polyamory. Oh, so it okay, for example, right? And there are different. I've read different types of harem romances, and the reason why I said that some of them can be closed and some of them can be open. I've read a harem romance about the king was gay. I have to figure out the title, but the king was gay, right? And the king was always had an harem, like a harem of, I think maximum was 4 or 5 lovers, right? So the question was then, when the story started, he already had 3 of those lovers. So he was looking for 2 more to complete his harem and to complete. So as of until when the other 2 came, it was still open, right? It was still open because polyamory, remember, polyamory is about having more than 2 people in a relationship, usually a sexual relationship. Sometimes you don't need to have sex. It might be the connection, that might be everything else, because not everybody is really into sex. Someone might be asexual, etc., etc. So, but usually in a relationship, once you're more than 2, then you're poly. Harem involves multiple people, it has to be more than 2. If it's just 2, it's not a harem relationship, it's just a regular romance. Multiple means that it's a lot. And the difference between a closed harem polyamorous relationship and one that is open is, like I said, if you've decided that, you want to have a harem with 5, 6 people, and currently you are number 4, then your relationship is open up until the other 2, 3 people join to make your harem complete, and then it becomes closed because you're not looking for more partners to bring into that relationship. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Did I come through? Because I know my internet is weird.
Yes.
Yep.
That was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Noria, earlier we
Gina, Megan Dare also writes Megan Day also writes harem relationship. Like I know she has one harem relationship that had multiple women in it, because in that culture there was the king and there was the queen, right? And they were in a relationship, but then they also had their individual harems. So it was developing their individual harems, and then they come back together for a relationship. It's complicated, but I absolutely gobbled it up with a spoon. Feed me that shit. Feed me to my veins. My veins. Okay.
No, you make perfect sense. But earlier we were going around talking about the top 3 tropes that we would love to see in a romance. So we want
your romance.
In your romance, like if you were to be in a romance, what are the top 3 tropes that you would have to have?
Top 3 tropes. Okay. Oh, see, there's so many tropes, right? Because I love bully romance. Like if bully romance is done well, but a lot of people they don't do it well, because bully romance only works when the other character gives as good as they get, and then there is a heap spoon of groveling. Like what makes bully romance for me satisfying is that last part, right? Right. But if I was in if I was in a romance, would I want to be bullied? Hell no. Nah. Okay, let me take that back. Breathe, Noria. If you were the one in the romance, so you're the lead character in this shit, would you stand unless I'm the one doing the bullying? Yes, can we? Because so many bullying romance always has the guy bullying and all of that. I'm like, fuck that shit. Except for what was the name of that romance? Hold up. Tell me how you really feel, right? Tell me how you really feel, which is this queer romance between 2 girls, right? And the whole point was one of the girls had always been harassing and slightly bullying, the other one, and she was like, "Oh my god, she hates me," but then I have to use her for a film project, and then they they get close and all the feelings, and I'm like, yeah, but there's no sex in that, but so unless I was the bully, if I was the bully in that relationship.
Wait.
So far, there's love at the end of it. Yeah, maybe. Enemies to lovers. But I always say, because everybody's always like, "Oh my god, enemy." I'm like, no. Enemies to lovers involves I would cut you if I could, bitch. See, that is enemies to lovers, right? Because a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, it's enemies to lovers." I'm like, that's just a slight dislike to lovers.
Yeah, like
for you to be enemies, I need to want to, I don't know, got you in the throat. Yes. I want to kill you. I want to fuck you and kill you. Right? I want to kill you then fuck you. Nah, that's another thing. Oh no. But there has to be, blood and gore and fucking, like it's everything. All them fluids have to mix together. Saliva and blood and everything else. Everything has to mix together. So
we're going into horror.
So that's important.
Right? Horror is a thing.
This is the book you were talking about. Tell me how you really feel. That's the cover.
Ooh.
Which looks cute, actually.
And I think if I was to choose the third trope, ooh, I like I don't know if it's a trope, but there's the the cocky lead who is a total opposite from the other confidence, right? The other confident lead trope, right? There's just something about people that are cocky and confident and can back that shit up that makes me very attraction.
And that's why you want to kill them.
Oh my god, you wear that arrogance so fucking well. I love that trope. There's this book by Upper Bliss, Kissing Season, right? Is it Kissing Season? Hold up, was it Kissing Season? Yeah, I think it's Kissing Season, right? By Upper Bliss. Right? Was
French
it
Kissing?
No, sorry, French Kissing. Thank you. French Kissing by Upper Bliss, right? Okay. French Kissing by Upper Bliss. She's a lesbian author, and it's a lesbian story. My problem is that I wanted more diversity because I'm like, why you're white? Like, why? because the sex is so good. And like, there's one of these characters who is a doctor, and who is just like, confidence. I got this shit. And there's this politician who's like, I got this shit. There are 6, you're following 6 women, each one of them in relationship. And like, by relation, I mean fucking relation. They are fucking each other. And it's written so well. I'm like, the confidence was just, it jumped out of the page. And the whole in me, it leaped out. So I was like,
She said that.
I want to fuck Stephanie in real life.
I'm getting all of these,
but I cannot because she's fictional. She's fictional, actually. And I want to. It's just how it is. So.
Those are my favorite books, though. Where
those would be the 3 tropes.
He is book bay. This person,
Those would be
I
the
wish
3
they were
tropes.
real.
Oh my gosh.
That's when you know a story has really affected you. When you want that person to be real. But we will try to put all of Nori's book recommendations in the chat if we haven't already. Hashtag the hoe in me. Amen.
Right.
Okay, so we're getting close to our hour and a half mark. So I want to ask one final question to wrap this all up. But I don't have one. So who has one?
Oh God. Oh.
I just want to say that I love the energy of this panel.
It went so much
It went
fun.
chaotic real fast, and I'm about that energy.
So much fun. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Woo! I think all panels should be like this. Oh my goodness.
oh my
It
god.
leaves you speechless at the end. Wow.
My question. I have a question.
Okay.
Do you feel like it's important for people to branch into romance as a proper genre? Proper genre romance, because I feel like it's very important if you want to learn, because I was one of those people that was like, romance is just people floating through and being like, I love you, and no development or whatsoever. And I had to learn the hard way that I was very wrong, because romance has a lot of very deep, depthful, that's a word, characters and themes, and the plots. You have to tighten up them plots because it can get old real fast. And I love that about the romance genre. And also, like, every romance author is like a lawyer, so they'll kill you if they want and get away with it. So that's really cool.
They will get you. Don't say nothing ill, because they will come after you. They're either lawyers or they're professors.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things. It's like, okay.
So to follow up with Neeks, since I am also one of the baby romance readers in here, I would have to say, now that I've gotten into romance, I would say it's definitely important, I think, to read it because of those reasons. Like people will talk about character development in fantasy and they'll be like, there's no character development. There's tons of character development. But like you said, like, there has to be character development in romance, and there has to be so much within the story, because we already know how it's going to end. So you can't leave me on a cliffhanger, because I already know it's going to end as happily ever after. So that story's got to be strong in in one book, not a 3-book series, in one book. So I think that it's just that I think it's important, and I think a lot of people can learn truly what character development is just from reading one well-written romance book.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I definitely think that authors that can give you a story where you can see yourself or be able to experience it with the characters. So it's not overly descriptive to the point that you're like, oh yeah, that's a white character, that's a black character, that's an Asian character, that's a Middle Eastern character. If an author is able to give you those ambiguous descriptions, but give you this journey of epic proportions of, heartbreak and emotion and just an all-around journey, and not have to put on page what the diversity is. That author has done such an amazing job, and it allows more people to be able to relate to the character. Like, even though Queen Beverly Jenkins, you know that her characters are Black characters because of when she sets them for her historical romances. She does write outside of historical romance. She has plenty of other subgenres, that she writes in. I haven't read any of them. I've only read her historicals, but she places you in that scene or in those scenes of the journey of her characters, that it doesn't matter if you're white reading about two Black characters, you're going to feel and understand the struggle that they are going through. And to get to that happily ever after at the end, you're like, that was so satisfying. Wow. Now I can see that it wasn't just about the strife and the struggle. It was about love, even in the 1800s, even in the 1700s, even in, whatever time frame she decides to write in. So yes, I definitely think. Plus, romance is is either the top or the second highest whatchamacallit, money getter.
It's number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's number one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was still number one, but yeah, I knew it was up there. We keep the lights on for everybody else, even though we get a bad name. And
there you go.
Overall, and I can just imagine how, and that's just in the traditional world. So if you were to add in all of those indie sales as well, ooh, child, ooh, there it blows everything else out the water. So
yeah, for me, I absolutely feel that everyone should read romance, because even people that say, oh, it's not for me, or, well, that's tricky, because I do have friends that just are like, it's not for me. But if they've tried it and said it's not for them, then I'm more likely to be like, okay, you just don't like it. But if you've never tried it, I always encourage people to read it, because there are so many subgenres within it. There's so many different types of romances. There's so many different things being discussed. There are some romances that are more fade to black for people that don't really want to read the raunchy scenes. There are romances that are more like slow burns for people that aren't interested in, like, all the lovey-dovey stuff right out the gate, and want to see a real connection form and build, and want to see people really like build that relationship. There's so many different types. There are romances where they're on the run for their lives. So you're reading it and you're just like, oh my God, I just want them to live. Like, you're interested in the romance, but you're also like, oh, okay, he's like climbing through the window. Like, can we go? Like, don't make out right now. The killer is right there. So there's just so many different types of romances. So I'm always happy to like encourage people to at least try it. If you've tried it and it's not your thing, that's fine, but at least try, because there's so much that it has to offer. So that's what I think. But Noria, did you hear the question from earlier? I think she's a little frozen. She might be frozen. Okay.
Shane, I don't know. Did you see that question?
Let's go back and answer Shane's questions real quick.
He asked how we felt about. Yep, there it is.
Wait.
Oh, don't even get me started.
What book was this?
Baker and the Geek. So just a quick rundown. A white woman by the name of like Isabella Starling, I believe, she decided to not only, that's not her actual pen name. She did come up with another pen name. Found this stock art of two Black characters on it, and she already had a book written. So she, like, from what I understand, sent it to a sensitivity reader when she rewrote both characters as Black people. And then she, got it ready to be published, and people caught on that she was a entire white woman putting out this story. And there, if you go to Goodreads, because I thought people were just getting mad about the cover, and I was like, I'm always one of those people that's like, let's just see the content of the book. Someone did read the content of the book, and they were like, this is so problematic based on how it relates to the Black community. And the person who reviewed that, by the way, was white, and they recognized how problematic it was because the entire focus for both characters was like, one was adopted, and that was like his big hang up, and then the other one like came out of a domestic violence situation. And the way that Isabella wrote it never once addressed the intersection of Blackness in both of those situations. So it was like literally she created white characters and then colored them brown on the page. And that is what is problematic about that. I could go on for days literally about this subject because there's a way to do diversity, if you will, and not have it be problematic. You can do this easiest in things like high fantasy, where you do want coded Black characters and you don't have to put any of the real world stereotypes into them. But then there's people that write contemporary without understanding that the intersection of Blackness and everything that we do every single day is so permanent. It's so permanent. Going to the store while Black is a different experience than going to the store while white. It just is. Like, I don't make the rules. Like, you just have to understand these things based on what genre you're writing. Romance. If you're a white author writing romance with two Black characters, you need to understand, and you never will, but you need to understand the intercommunity politics that go on within that relationship. Writing interracially, you need to understand the community politics that are going on within that as well. So there's a discussion that needs to be had about experience and how you cannot experience certain things as an outside member or outside party to a group. Yep, that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo.
Sorry for that lecture spiel.
No, thank you.
No, I needed it.
Oh no, you were completely on point. You were completely on point, and I completely agree with all of that. Because I mean, like a lot of, I get a lot of, I guess backlash maybe because I focus on interracial so much, but it also goes into my own personal experience. You know, I have been in a interracial relationship for 15 plus years. On my 40 plus years on this earth, you know,
25.
25
plus some.
Yes.
On this earth, the majority of my relationships have been interracial. That's not to say that I have never dated within the Black community, because I did. I just find that I gravitate to interracial. And, you know, that goes back to my experience and, you know, what I see in romances and where I can relate to them. So when I see like the stereotypical things written into romances, it's like, boo-boo, I'm gonna need you to pull that back because you didn't talk to the right people, you didn't do the right research. This does not feel genuine, and you just decided to throw in every single stereotype, profile, prejudice that you have ever heard and thought of into this because all Black people like chicken and watermelon. No.
Big hoop earrings,
so
big lips, big old booty.
First of all,
yes.
we have big lips because genetics. So
exactly. Yeah, no. Okay. And that does not say that somewhere, some other Black person doesn't have thin lips. They could be the darkest of dark Black and have thin lips. And it all boils back to genetics and what your family looks like, everything like that. So yes, I mean, there are Black people that don't have 4C hair. But don't describe a Black person as having 4C hair, but then compare them to Audrey Hepburn. I read that in a book somewhere, one book, and I wanted to throw that book. I was like, this character had 4C hair, but she was compared to Audrey Hepburn. I was like, oh no.
Choices.
Wow.
So if I can do a shameless plug, I actually did a whole video on how to introduce POC comparable characters into high fantasy. I will probably not ever do one for contemporary because that's a long conversation and I don't feel like being the one to have. But yeah, I mean, if anybody in here is a writer and you're like, I want to have, a character that if they made a movie out of my book would be Latinx, then look into the physical attributes of like whatever you want for that person and code them as such physically. But please, please, please remember that your fantasy world that you just made up does not need them using the word cholo or something. Okay, you don't gotta do all that. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to do this.
Yeah,
So,
I think I understand when non-Black authors not refuse, but just shy away from writing Black characters. And their reasons are, I don't want to mess it up, or this is not my wheelhouse, I'm not familiar, and things of that nature. I'm just like, you know what? I would rather have that because then at least they're allowing the Black authors to actually write their own stories as opposed to, because your books are gonna be written or gonna be published anyway. You're gonna have the success regardless. You have a leg up in a way that a lot of Black authors don't have. A lot of Black authors are held to a higher standard in some ways. Mm-hmm. So you're already going to have that visibility in a lot of ways. So if you would rather just say, you know what, I'm just going to let Black authors write their stories and I'm going to stick to what I know, I have more respect for that than authors who are not Black that attempt it and either just do it poorly, don't care, mismanage it, don't do the research, don't talk to people in the Black community that they're right. It's so much worse.
It is.
So much
Because
worse.
At the end of the day, when you read that story, you can see the work that's put in.
Mm-hmm.
You can see if an author does the research, if the author has the sensitivity, beta, alpha, Black friends that told them, go ahead and write this. Don't write that.
Don't write that.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
Can I add to Bree Hills also? Hey girl, I love you. A lot of people are always like, so if white writers can't write Black characters, why do Black people get to write white characters? And I'll tell you exactly
I have
why.
a question. Anybody?
Huh?
What? Because I know my internet is acting up again, and I really apologize. This has been an absolute mess on my part. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead, Neeks.
I'm glad, Noria, we can hear you, but we can't see you moving, which is a different sort of issue than we've had, but still good. But it's because Black people and all of the minorities in this country have been forced to adapt and survive whiteness. We understand whiteness as a concept and as a culture, but white people have not been forced to survive and adapt our cultures. They've been appropriating it in some cases, yes, but they've not been in it. There's a huge difference. So we've been in white people's spaces forced to adjust who we are so that we understand whiteness on a survivability level, but they've not been forced to do the same. And that's why there's a huge difference in that.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
So I think that was the only question Shane asked? I believe so.
I think so.
So I think that we are going to wrap this up. I do want to end it on a lighter note. So I just want to say, are there any romances you are currently reading or looking forward to reading this year?
I'm looking for just cute ones. So if you guys have cute romances, and I mean super cute, I want this man bringing flowers to her house. I don't want anything heavy happening.
Okay.
Okay.
I ain't got nothing.
If you have not checked out Trust Falling by Cherish Reed yet, it's about this couple that work together. They have to go on a retreat into the woods. It's a short little novella. It is interracial, but it's super cute and it's funny. And there's a bear that ends up happening. So It's gonna bring you some kiki love, and yes.
Love it.
I am probably one of the worst booktubers out there because I read sporadically. But I finally get to read more right now, and so I've been focusing on our Black authors readathon. So I am currently reading. Well, I finished a book. I finished The Princess Trap this morning by Talia Hibbert, and
Yes.
that was good. I
It's
enjoyed
only
it.
available on Kobo still. On that.
Really?
No, I got it on Amazon.
Did you? Oh, see.
Yeah.
I got it
Okay,
on
you must
Amazon.
go get
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
I love that one.
And I'm listening. Someone just brought up The Lion and the Mouse. I'm listening to the second book in the Lion and the Mouse series by Kenya Wright, and I love that series.
That's a really good series.
So good. I'm enjoying it so
Are
much.
you listening to the audiobook versus reading?
Yeah, I'm listening to the audiobook. Mhm.
Okay, I have
Okay.
that. It's already on my Kindle.
Oh.
I'm thinking about her other one, her Wrapped for something or another, I think. My bad.
I'm trying to pull up the book that I will probably finish reading before the end, or start and finish reading before the end of this weekend. And it's the newest release from Christina C. Jones.
Mm.
And this is Maybe Next Time. And the guy on this cover, I'm just like, where is he? Can I have his address? Can I have his location? Like, what?
Like, hey.
That's all I know. Okay, we're getting some good recommendations. Oh,
I know, right? I'm like putting them in my Goodreads so far.
I've gotten so many amazing recommendations. Noria, we had a few questions that we were going to catch you up on if you can hear us. The first, can you hear us? Poor Noria. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That international connection
can hear you.
was not working. Oh, you can hear me?
My internet is just crappy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I can.
Awesome. So the question that we are wrapping up with is, what are some like books that you're looking, some romances that you're looking forward to reading or are currently reading that you're enjoying?
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm looking forward to reading the Alyssa Cole romance, the recent one, the Runaway Princess, the one in the Runaway Princess, the Runaway Royal series. Just because I remember when I read Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, also by Alyssa Cole, I was like, fuck. See, that is that whole point where we say, oh, people cannot write because I don't think Alyssa Cole is queer, but that was such an amazing story. I wanted the cozy to just jump back on the page so I could date her or steal her shoes or both. So a full on like Once Got Twice Shy was a novella, right? But this is going to be a full novel, full romance, and I'm ready for it. I would say because the Actor Age brand by Talia Hibbert, because yes. Because I'm just trying to see. I don't think there is, because usually I am always just enjoying anything that comes my way. So I don't even think I made that much of a list. I want to be surprised. What romance am I reading at the moment? Ooh, that's a bit tricky. Because I'm currently
Woo. International is not liking us right now.
The
I feel so bad.
Noria.
I know.
Noria, just if you can hear me, just write it in the chat because you are going in and out and we can't hear you.
Which for me.
Oh.
I don't know that she can hear us.
Maybe not.
Oof.
I'll type it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, just let us know in the chat, Noria, if you can hear me.
I don't think she's not in the chat. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Poor Noria. I don't want to keep torturing her with her internet. But we have gotten some amazing book recommendations. We have had some laughs. We learned about tentacle porn. I mean, it's been an event.
Yes, it has. Oh my goodness.
So
an amazing event.
So much fun.
It's been such a great discussion. I'm going to wrap things up because we are closing on the 2-hour mark here. But I just want to say a big, huge thank you to every single one of you for joining me on this panel. I have had so much fun moderating. And for those of y'all who've joined us, thank you so much for watching. And if you've reached the end, we are wrapping up now. And I will just say that you can catch each one of these people on their channels. So real quick, again, we're going to go through and leave a channel name so that you can go subscribe and take a part of their content if you're not already.
I am Neeks. You can find me on youtube.com/Neeks. On social media, you can find me on It's Neeks, yeah. ITSNEEKS, the word yeah. And then on Instagram, I'm Neeks Writes and Reads. Also, something that both me and India forgot to mention earlier is that we have candle shops. Hers is Page Turning Products. She just released some new unicorn candles, and they are fantabulous. A lot of people are always like, "How are you guys friends?" I've had this question like several times, and I'm like, "It's totally different vibes for each shop."
Vibes, right?
Yeah. So I work mainly on like mindset crafting, which is the name of my company, and then for hers, they're the most adorable candles I've ever seen in my life. So I'm literally just saving money until I can order the full suite of them, but they're so cute. Please check out both companies if you are so inclined. And yeah.
Amazing. Okay, Steph.
I'm Steph from Steph's Romance Book Talk on YouTube. That is the channel name. There is an apostrophe S, even though like right there it doesn't have the apostrophe S. There is an actual apostrophe S. My Twitter handle is Steph_uncensored, and then on Instagram, Goodreads, and Patreon, it's Steph's Romance Book Talk. So there's that. Yay!
Awesome. And India?
So yes, I am Life as a Page Turner or Life as a Page Turn just about everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon as well. Like Neeks was saying, I do have candle business. It's Page Turning Products, and Neeks is Mindset Crafting. I don't think she actually said what her business is. It's Mindset Crafting on Instagram.
You did it.
Anybody was wondering.
Oh my God.
I think I bought all of India, so now it's time to turn to Neeks's
right
to add back here.
And we both do that. I did make an entire video last Black Friday featuring a lot of Black booktubers who have small businesses, including Brittany over at Melanin Eclectic, who has also her own stationery stickers and a reading planner out as well. So I did do a whole video on that. If you're looking to support other Black booktubers in different ways. And yeah, but that's who I am, guys. I've got Wind Down Wednesdays sometimes. It's been a little sporadic due to work.
And school.
And school. And Noria is not here. I would just say her information is in the description. So definitely go check out her channel and all of her socials. And we are going to be closing out the Black Book Summit next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you check out that panel. It's going to be moderated by Brittany, and that is going to be talking about Black SFF, which we are very excited to tune in for. But thank you so much for joining us on the romance panel, and we will catch y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.